It was raining that night, not the kind of rain that dances on rooftops or sings to sleeping trees. No, this was the kind of rain that mirrored a broken heart. Loud, messy, and endless. Ishan sat on the pavement outside the tea stall, drenched to the bone. The plastic cup in his hand trembled slightly, maybe because of the cold, maybe because of what he had just read. Her message was still glowing on the cracked screen of his phone. Please don't wait for me anymore. I'm getting married next month. I hope you'll understand. He didn't blink. He didn't cry. He didn't even feel. It was as if someone had emptied him from the inside and left a breathing shell behind. 3 years. 3 years of late-night talks, long-distance promises, shared playlists, and a future painted in quiet whispers. Gone. Shattered in a single message. I told you love was never meant for guys like us, said Aarav, the tea seller, softly placing a fresh cup beside him. Ishan smiled faintly. He had no words. What could he say? That he had planned their wedding in his mind 100 times? That he had even saved for a ring? He took the cup and stared at the steam rising. Somewhere in the chaos of the city, a train roared by. Life, it seemed, wasn't stopping for his pain. But that night, something changed. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was the brutal honesty of heartbreak. Or maybe it was the realization that she had moved on and he hadn't even moved. The next morning, Ishan didn't go back to bed. He took a cold shower, wore his only clean shirt, and went to his old college library. He hadn't stepped inside since graduation. He just walked in, found a quiet seat in the corner, and opened a blank notebook. And he started to write. Not letters to her, not poems about heartbreak, but goals. 1 year from now, I will be better. Not for her, not for revenge. For me. That single line became his anchor. He applied for a late-night job as a delivery rider. He spent his days in the library. He studied. He learned coding from free online courses. He started freelancing, slow, clumsy, underpaid, but it was a start. Every rupee he earned felt like a stitch in the wounds of his broken soul. And every time he thought of her, he didn't curse. He didn't cry. He just wrote more goals. Months passed. He missed birthdays, skipped festivals, slept barely 4 hours a night. But he kept going. One day, a startup he'd done freelance work for offered him a full-time role. It wasn't much, but it was a door, and Ishan had learned by now that all you need is one door and the courage to walk through it. 2 years later, Ishan was invited to speak at a college tech event. As he walked up to the mic, wearing a crisp shirt and confidence that took thousands of silent nights to build, someone in the crowd gasped. It was her. She was sitting in the second row. Her eyes met his. For a second, the world paused. But Ishan didn't flinch. He smiled, not out of pride, not to prove a point, but because he had finally become someone he was proud of. Not because he was chosen, but because he had chosen himself. Rain tapped softly against the windows of Aarav's small flat, the kind of rain that made the whole world feel quiet. He sat alone at the dining table, fingers curled around a cold cup of tea. On the wall across from him, a framed photograph stared back. Him and Dia, smiling by the sea, both of them caught in a moment that once felt eternal. But it wasn't. Love, they say, is like a garden. It grows only if both people keep watering it. Dia had stopped watering it long ago. And Aarav, he had drowned in it. The breakup had been clean, no shouting, no drama, just silence, the kind that fills a room and your chest at the same time. She had said, "It's not you, Aarav, it's me. I just don't feel it anymore." But those words had echoed like thunder. He had built dreams around her, a life, a future, even a playlist. And now he was alone in a flat filled with memories, in a body that carried pain like a second skin. But pain is a strange thing. It breaks you down, but it also reveals what's real. One evening, unable to bear the silence, Aarav picked up his old sketchbook. It had dust on the cover. He hadn't drawn in years. But something inside him said, draw, not for Dia, not for anyone, just for the boy who once believed the world could be rebuilt with pencil strokes. He sketched his pain, rough lines, blurred eyes, broken hearts stitched together. And for the first time in weeks, something inside him stirred. A tiny warmth, not happiness, not yet, but maybe hope. Over the next few weeks, Aarav started drawing every night. He posted one sketch online, just to let it go. He called it Heart Under Construction. It got 5 likes, but the next one got 10, then 25. Then a stranger messaged, "I've been heartbroken too. Your art, it made me feel seen." And suddenly, the pain he thought was only his became a language others understood. He started a series, Pages from a Healing Heart. Each post carried a sketch and a few words. Not polished, not perfect, but raw, honest, real. Within months, thousands followed him. People wrote to him. Stories of betrayal, of divorce, of endings they never asked for. Aarav listened, and in listening, he healed too. One day, an art gallery reached out. They wanted to showcase his work under a theme called Resilience. At first, Aarav laughed. Him? In a gallery? But something inside him said, "Go." On the night of the exhibition, he stood in a room filled with lights and strangers staring at his pain framed on walls. One woman touched a piece called Half of Me and whispered, "This saved me." He walked outside for air and looked up. The same rain was falling, but it didn't feel cold anymore. It felt cleansing. In time, Aarav began holding workshops, helping others turn their heartbreak into art, poetry, music, anything that could carry emotion and transform it. He didn't teach technique. He taught truth. He said, "You're not broken. You're becoming." Years later, on a stage in front of young artists and dreamers, Aarav said, "You think your heart is shattered, but those cracks, they let the light in. Don't run from your pain. Use it, shape it, make it your fire." And behind the stage, in the shadows, Dia watched, not with regret, but awe, because she realized something. She had left a boy, but the world gained a man who could turn heartbreak into hope.